Welcome back to BBarbstat&fact. I'm your host, Brian Barbeau. I do stats and facts about my four favorite sports teams: Toronto Maple Leafs, the Boston Celtics, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Leafs lose 3-2 in overtime to the Florida Panthers, and their season is ultimately over. Again, but this time in the second round. It's frustrating. The season's over. It's done. Yes, we did win a playoff series for the first time since 2004. That's great. But this season was a failure again. They did not show up against the Florida Panthers at all. Their big line, Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Mitch Marner, and John Tavares combined for 3 goals in this series. 4 guys who are getting paid $40 million, so that's half the salary cap of the entire team, scored 3 goals in 5 games. That's unacceptable. That is simply unacceptable. Austin Matthews, you get paid $11.34 million a year. Had 2 points, 2 assists. He didn't score. He failed to manufacture 1 goal. John Tavares, same thing. $11 million a year. Failed to score 1 goal. Yeah, that's great. You know what? We won a playoff series for the first time since 2004. And thank God for that, because I tell you one thing right now. If we had lost to Tampa Bay in Game 6, they ultimately would have lost in Game 7. Because guess what? The Seattle Kraken won a playoff series, and they're in Game 6 against the Dallas Stars tonight and have a chance to win. So think if we had lost against Tampa Bay in Game 6, and they probably would have lost Game 7 too. And Seattle's won a playoff series. Now we would have officially been, I'm not playing what it should have, could have, but you get where I'm going with this, the only team in the NHL to not won a playoff series since 2004. We've had 2 expansion teams since then. One of them went to the Stanley Cup in their inauguration season. Another one in their second year is in the second round of the playoffs and has a chance to at least tie it tonight and go to Game 7. Now back to our core 4. 0. Austin Matthews didn't score 1 goal. And neither did John Tavares. Both those guys looked practically invisible the entire series. I congratulate William Nylander for at least last night tying the game and giving us a chance to win in overtime. And I congratulate Mitch Marner last game for after his his whining, his petulant whining to the media. We don't care what you think. We're a tight-knit group in the locker room. We don't care what you think. We still believe in the guys in the locker room. Really? If you're coming out to the media and saying things like that, and spewing things like that to the viewers, it means they're in your head. After that series, after we lost Game 3, the series was done after that game. It was done. Yeah, they won 2-1 in Game 4. Forced Game 5. Only to let the Leaf faithful down again. It's embarrassing. You get Austin Matthews gets paid $11.34 million, as I just alluded to earlier. John Tavares, $11 million. He's still got 2 years left on his contract. Matthews has 1 more year left. He might go somewhere else. I don't know, man. That the acquisitions that we got at the trade deadline, Noel Achari, Ryan O'Reilly, Luke Shen, who, by the way, the Leafs drafted back in 2008, Sam Lafferty. Those guys were great. Those guys were body checking. They were getting in the corners. They made an impact in the series. They made an impact in the first round. Wasn't the acquisitions that were the problem. I set up the trade. We had to bolster our bottom six, and we did, and that was fantastic. In order to not only complement the bottom six, but complement the core four. The core four. And Kyle Dubas, our GM, did a hell of a job doing that. And we finally win a playoff series. John Tavares putting it off Radish's skate in front of the net. Leaf faithful. Luminous. Acrimonious. Joyous. We finally got that monkey off our back. We overcame demons and won a playoff series. No, we didn't win the Stanley Cup, but we finally overcame some demons. We finally did it. Only to display that crap in the second round? I mean, okay, you know what? First off, I congratulate the Florida Panthers. All credit to them. All the credit to them. They were fantastic. They had a great series. Well, they just beat the Boston Bruins after being down a 3-1 deficit to them. I congratulate them. I really do. They played great hockey. Well, we outshot them 53-41. You know what? Florida gets outshot every game. They don't care. That's how they play. It's not the quantity of shots. It's quality in the playoffs. Teams that go on and win the Stanley Cup, they get outshot all the time. Numerous times. Practically every single game. But it's quality over quantity. And with the Leafs, this playoffs, it's been quantity over quality. And yeah, you know what? Leaf fans and myself were a little bit irate about that controversial Morgan Rielly goal or no goal. Bottom line is, it wasn't a goal. It wasn't entirely conclusive, as the video showed. Yeah, it was underneath Sergei Bobrovsky's pad, but it wasn't conclusive. We didn't see where the puck was. We saw where it was after the whistle blew. Regardless, no goal or no goal, shake it off, man. Shake it off. So, another frustrating loss for us. But our core four, this series ultimately came down to our core four not producing. They'll produce 3 goals in 5 games. Austin Matthews and John Tavares. Goose egg! I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen this offseason. There's going to be a litany of changes. I believe so. There has to be. Last year after we lost Game 7, 54 wins, 115 points. Austin Matthews, 60-goal season, ultimately winning the Hart and the Rocket for a second consecutive year. I said, let's run this thing back one more time. Let's run it back for one more year. Yes, we beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. We finally won a playoff series for the first time in almost 20 years. Got that monkey off our back. I didn't think we played great against them either. I'm not trying to be a pessimist or a half-glass empty kind of guy. I'm calling it what it is. Those 3 games we won in Tampa Bay, All in overtime. Yes, there was that miracle comeback in Game 4. But it's not like they dominated, 4-1, 5-1, or 3-1. No. They all got to overtime. And in overtime, it's sudden death. Next shot wins. This season is over. This core four, it's not working. It's not panning out. I want Kyle Dubas, Brendan Shanahan, and Sheldon Keefe, and all the Leafs management, and hell, even the owners put them in there too. I want them to get together during this offseason and come up with an ulterior solution. Because that's what needs to happen. There's a great quote by the late great former USA head coach for the men's Olympic hockey team, Herb Brooks. You cannot win on just talent and skill alone. And that's what they tried to do. How are your big contracts holding up now? Anyway, on to next season, on to the off season. It's going to be a very interesting off season, or the next couple months are going to be very interesting to see what happens with this team. I'll tell you one thing right now. Come Game 1 of the regular season in October, this line, the complexion of this team is going to look a hell of a lot different. Let me tell you that. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video just as much as I did producing it. I will be posting another video in the foreseeable future. My YouTube shorts were about John Tavares. I will be profiling John Tavares in my next video. I was going to do it for this video, but I figured I had to get this rant out of my system. So, yeah, here we go again. Only this time in the second round. Until then, ta-ta.